Well, that is interesting. Oh, hey. Been a minute. What's up, brother? No, that is not my line, is it? Shout out Sketch. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to your 18th installment of the Fourth Down Forum podcast. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is your annual, well, first ever, because we rebranded, mock Fourth Down Forum mock draft episode. Now, under the What a Play banter, we used to do the mock draft episode all the time. It was something I looked forward to every year. This right here is the big book of football. And this contains a very special list. And in this list has the mock draft that I have been doing, not just I, but also my boy Michael. We have been doing due diligence on this list. So I am excited to say, for the first time in many years, it's not just a mock draft that I randomly threw together, because I am guilty of doing that. I'd be like, oh, well, this guy's going here, this guy's going here, done, get it uploaded. This was a process. This took time. Also, I do get thirsty on the podcast, so apologies. However, we took our time with this one. I believe we did the mock draft on it like a week or so ago, and then I was just putting the finishing touches on it. Now, I am not going to know every prospect on here, and that's not to say that I don't know who these guys are, but like on a personal level, I may not know all the schools, stuff like that. So y'all bear with me. My boy Michael, who helped me produce this fine masterpiece right here, that man probably knows more about football than me. And that's saying something, because I am a huge football guy. And y'all know this from day one. But that said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first annual Fourth Down Forum podcast mock draft. The Chicago Bears are now on the clock. And with the first overall pick in the see, we're slipping up. I almost said the old podcast name, but we are no longer that. We are new. We are innovative. We are fresh. The Fourth Down Forum mock draft podcast. This is a no-brainer. At least to me and my boy Michael, we both had the same guy going. Caleb Williams, quarterback, is going to the Chicago Bears. It just makes too much sense. You traded Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't trust your quarterbacks you got on your roster now. They want a guy they can build the future with, which personally, way too early to tell, but it might blow up in their face. But we will see. Caleb Williams is going number 1 overall. He may do great things in Chicago. The last quarterback I know who did, Fields was good, don't get me wrong. This isn't me trying to be a hater and being like he didn't do anything. Also, peep the hat, y'all. I know y'all have seen this hat before if you follow the channel. This is something that got taken away from y'all. And what I mean by that, we're going to go on a little ADHD side tangent, so bear with me. And then we'll get back into it. We'll reel it back in. This was the original 2020 2020 NFL draft hat, because the draft was being held in Vegas. I was lucky enough to get this from my job. Now, at the time when I was still a customer, the week, before the, pandemic no disco happened, I was able to go into the store and buy this hat. So me, one of my other guys, you've seen him in the comments before, my coworker, I think he has the Eagles one. My boss has a Cowboys one. Cool stuff all around. However, we will see what Caleb Williams can do. You know, there's already a stigma around him because he paints his nails, stuff like this. I'm like, it doesn't matter. If the dude can ball, the dude can ball. If he can't, he can't. It's as simple as that. I don't care what you do in your personal life if you can play football at an elite level. That said, let's talk about a guy that I do happen to know a lot about. With the second overall pick in the Fourth Down Forum mock draft. The Washington Commanders are now on the clock. And with that pick, the Washington Commanders are selecting your Heisman winner, quarterback out of LSU, Jayden Daniels. There is a new regime with the Commanders. You think it's a no-brainer. They need a quarterback. They need a guy they can build around. Jayden Daniels is going to get my stamp of approval because, one, yes, I am an LSU guy, but I've seen what this kid can do. Hell, my boy Isaiah, you've seen him on the podcast before under the What a Play umbrella. He would probably give his stamp of approval even if I have him going to a divisional rival. The kid can ball. He is tough as nails. I remember me and him were watching one game. I think we were at the we were out at the pool hall. We were watching a game. Dude got hit, got back up. I was like, damn, that dude's got some balls on him. But yeah, with that pick, Jayden Daniels is going to the Washington Commanders. And yeah, this may be a draft where we have a run on quarterbacks with the first couple of picks. So, that said, this was, again, if y'all don't know, co-produced by Michael DeVinny. So my boy, shout out. With the third play in the Fourth Down Forum mock draft, we have the Patriots selecting Drake May. Now, the Patriots, first time in a long time, they're now under head coach Gerard Mayo, more of a defensive guy. Bill Belichick is no longer there. It's a new era. We will see what they can do. But they just traded Mac Jones, who was their starter for previous years, I believe 21, 22, 23, if I'm not mistaken. He came in the class of 21. They need an upgrade at quarterback. Drake May has the tangibles to be that guy. Let me see if I have any other notes on here of that. And I will be flipping through this paper a lot. Not because I don't know what I'm talking about, but because you do have to reference notes sometimes. And, yeah, I did dress up for the occasion, if y'all couldn't tell, because it is the draft. So, wanted to do something different wanted to keep the sportswear. I'm also wearing my Ravens Crocs. God, I need to know that. But it also kind of is cool, right? Because it represents, like, oh, the business, the analyst side of it, the casual side of it, and the sports fan side of it. So I thought that was cool. Anywho, yeah, he's coming out of North Carolina. They're more so known, let's be honest, their claim to fame is Michael Jordan. If we're being 100% honest, that's their claim to fame. But that's not to say they can't produce good NFL players. And hopefully Drake May is one of them. Now, pick number 4. I want to just throw a random name out there just because I know it would upset one of my boys, and that to me would be hilarious. However, the analyst side of me wants to remain professional and say with the 4th pick in the Fourth Down Forum mock draft, the Arizona Cardinals are selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. out of the Ohio State. He has a legacy that a lot of people will be expecting him to build upon. His father was in the NFL. But, you know, it's time for that man. And I'm not saying he hasn't already, but that man's going to want to carve out his own legacy. He has that name, that stigma attached already. We will see what happens. Now, for my Giants fans, they may not like this pick. I will say this right here, right now. And my homegirl Mel, she would agree with me. Host of the 13 Rings podcast. Check it out if you get a chance. She would agree with me. They need a quarterback. Daniel Jones is no longer the answer. Looking back on it, if you had a choice to pay Saquon or Daniel Jones, you'd probably go back in time and pay Saquon instead of Daniel Jones. However, that said, I believe we have different prospects on who the Giants are going to pick. So with the getting ahead of ourselves, backtrack that. There's a team I skipped over, and for that, terribly sorry. Did not mean to skip over them. With the 5th pick in the 4th Down Forum mock draft, the Los Angeles Chargers will be selecting Malik Neighbors out of LSU. This man has all the tangibles, all the fundamentals, all the intelligence to be what Quentin Johnston could not be for the Chargers last year. That man, granted, he was only a rookie, so we'll see if he gets into a sophomore slump. Can't really be much more of a slump than what he was doing. However, Malik Neighbors is going to do damage for the Los Angeles Chargers. And quite frankly, being that my Baltimore Ravens play them quite a lot, that is something that frightens me. Because I'm an LSU fan. Malik Neighbors is a beast. He can go up, he can get the ball, elite route running, this, that, and the other. So we shall see what happens. And originally, we had the Chargers taking Brock Bowers, but I believe he falls in this draft. And to where, you will see later in the episode. That said, fast forward back to the point I was making about the Giants. Like I said, I believe me and my homegirl Mel, we have different opinions on who they may take at quarterback. So with the 6th pick in the 4th Down Forum mock draft, the New York Giants will be selecting quarterback J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. He comes from a tree of Harbaughs. Know plenty about that. Being a Ravens fan, being Jim Harbaugh coached Michigan, won a natty with them. I honestly think any quarterback, I can't say any quarterback because there's a guy who went to the Broncos that we'll get into a little bit, is an improvement over Daniel Jones, Vanilla Vic as I used to call him. You need to get somebody else in there though, and I believe that's going to be the guy. The Titans. We remember them, don't we? Thank you. And one more time. Thank you for Derrick Henry. We greatly appreciate it. You didn't want to trade us to him, where you could have got draft compensation, and you probably could have got a high draft round pick. But instead, you let him walk in free agency where he's like, oh yeah, you don't got to give up nothing for me. Signed penned up paper. I am excited to see that. But with the 7th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Joel Alt. Is that how you pronounce his name? Yeah. So they'll get that on the offensive line. Hopefully Tajee Spears and Tony Pollard can maintain something behind that. Lineman is never a sexy pick, but it is a necessary pick. I will say that. However, with how this mock draft fell, a lot of my fellow Ravens fans are not going to like who I picked. But once we get into it, you'll remember the Ravens don't go based off of need. They go off of the board always falls, BPA, which is best player available. And we'll get into that some more in a bit. And if you see me at any time be like, ask Michael about these guys, that just means I don't know much about them. So the Falcons will be selecting Latu. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that name. He either sounds, I believe from what me and Michael were talking about, and I could be wrong here, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe he was a pass rusher that fell because I had them taking another guy completely. And Michael was like, no, this is how I think the board will fall. So this was in collaboration and in conjunction with another person instead of me just being like, ooh, do. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that works out for them. Now, a guy I can talk some more on, the Chicago Bears are back on the clock at pick number 9. And with the 9th pick in the 4th Down Forum mock draft, the Chicago Bears select wide receiver Rome. I'm trying to make sure. Adunze. and I might have butchered that last name, so if I did, I apologize, out of Washington. So do the Bears need a receiver? I didn't think so originally, but Michael brought up a good point. Keenan Allen is up there in age. He does have a history of being injured and getting injured. Not all the time, but it's there. And then outside of that, like, who do they really got? Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you personally. I don't follow Chicago like that. When I do, it's to, like, the state of the NFL predictions, draft, stuff like this, which kind of contradicts what I'm saying. However, excuse me for just a minute, y'all. However, I could see the Bears under their regime being like, okay, let's go with a player we think is going to be good. Might be a reach, too early to tell. That said, he is a excellent receiver. He will be able to bring a spark to that offense, especially if Caleb Williams is drafted first overall like we think he's going to be. Now, remember how I was saying earlier in the episode that Brock Bowers was going to fall? Tight end out of Georgia, right? Championship pedigree. Former Ravens OC Todd Monken was there with him for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. With the 10th pick in the 4th Down Forum mock draft, the New York Jets select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia. Explosive playmakers, gets to play with Rodgers for a year, gets to play with all of them weapons they got out in New York, you know, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. Going to be tough to see. Okay. With your 11th pick in the first annual 4th Down Forum mock draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. This is another no-brainer. If the board falls how we expect it to fall, and let me preface this because I haven't said this far in the episode yet. This doesn't mean this is how the draft's gonna end up. This just means this is how we had our board fallen, and our board could be completely wrong. There could be some hits on there. There could be some misses. That's what it's called a mock draft for. It's for fun. It's for entertainment. It's not, this is what's happening. You better get this right. Put your bets in now. Don't bet on this stuff. Unless, like, the first overall pick. Go ahead and bet on that because that's an easy win. Michael Penix Jr. is a no-brainer for the Vikings. They just lost Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. Keep him in purple. He's an excellent quarterback. I've seen what he can do in college football. You would be a fool not to take him. That said, the Broncos are now on the clock. And the Broncos with I believe we're on pick 12 right now. The Broncos with the 12th overall selection select quarterback Bo Nix out of Oregon. Some people are going to say this is a reach. But are you going to sit here and tell me, with how the way the board has fallen so far, that Zach Wilson, who just got recently traded to the Broncos, is the answer to Denver's quarterback carousel that they've had going on forever now? They have not had a contemporary replacement. You could argue Russell Wilson was supposed to be that guy, but there's holes in that. Since Peyton Manning has left, they have not been able to answer the quarterback question. And that's agitating. You should be able to figure it out by now. Other teams have. Look at guys like the Bengals, the Chargers, the Ravens. There's other teams I'm forgetting, but the Texans. Just for example, I named all NFC, or AFC, so let's name some NFC too. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. It's just frustrating, man, because they should have figured this out a while ago. a while ago. That said, you live and you learn. Penix should be, could be, maybe, or Bo Nix, sorry, not Penix. Maybe a Denver Bronco. Sorry, it's been a minute. The Raiders are going to select Fuega at 13. At 14, the Saints are going to select Olu Fushana. And I might be butchering these names, so again, apologies if I am. My apologies if I am. At pick 15, the Colts are going to select Quinion Mitchell. If I'm not mistaken, and it's very possible I could be mistaken, I believe he is of the DB variety, and that is something that me and Michael described at the time of making this list. Something that they need. The Seahawks are going to select Troy Fatuna at pick 16. Now let's talk about pick number 17. This is something I can talk about because I did not like the way our board fell. Because this is a guy that I want in Baltimore. This is a guy that I think would pair very well with Marlon Humphrey. And he has one of the coldest ass nicknames in football history. So with pick number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be selecting cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. How he fell to 17 in our board, I have no idea, because that man is phenomenal. That man is a stud. That man can lock down receivers. But man, imagine if the Jaguars draft him, you're going to make hella merch off of that. I'm going to say that right now, because Kool-Aid, you could put the logo, you could put, man, just exciting stuff to see, man. Exciting stuff to see all around. So that said, we are now on to pick 18. And with pick number 18, the Bengals. The Bengals will be selecting J.C. Latham. Ask Michael. I believe he made this pick. So ask Michael what that means. There's some stuff I know about him. The Rams. The Rams for the first time since 2016. Because if you remember, in the 2016 draft, or I could be wrong, because they traded for quarterbacks twice in that span. They traded for Jared Goff originally in 2016, and that gave up a barrage of picks. And then I may be mistaken here, so don't quote me. I'm just making an assumption, which isn't the best to do, but you know, F it, we ball. They may have traded more first-round picks to acquire Matthew Stafford as well, but I could be wrong there. But that said, for the first time since 2016, they have a first-round pick, and we have them selecting none other than Johnny Newton, and that is self-explanatory. The Rams, in a shocking off-season announcement, lost defensive tackle Aaron Donald to retirement. You know, you got to plug in that hole, man. Could have had a Matabike, but he re-signed. Could have had one of these other guys, but most of them re-signed. So, that said, at pick number 20, the Steelers will be selecting Amarius Mims. I believe that should provide what they need to get what they need done. They do what they do. The Steelers are always one of those teams that are going to, you know, draft a player of need, draft a player they want, snipe the player you want right before your team can get to them, because I still remember Pittsburgh, and I don't forgive you for it. I wanted George Pickens in that draft, and y'all took him. And now, he's an enemy. By no means of his own, but by at the hands of y'all. Anywho, at pick number 21, the Miami Dolphins, will be selecting Byron Murphy. At pick number 22, the Eagles are going to be selecting Terrion Arnold. The Eagles are one of those teams, man. They're going to be able to draft who they need, what they want, when, where, and how they want, because they're great at drafting. Their GM is phenomenal. I'm never going to have any personal beef with the Eagles because, like I said, one of my favorite moments from draft night is draft night 2018. And I feel guilty about this looking back. I was watching the draft, got bored with it after, like, Hayden Hurst got picked, I think, 25th at the Ravens. Fell asleep, woke up to a text from my boy, and he was like, Lamar just got drafted. And I was like, who took him? And he was like, y'all did. And I was like, there's no effing way. Went back, watched the video, seen that we drafted him. We traded with the Eagles to get their pick to draft him. And I'm really glad we did because it's been working out so far. 2 MVPs, still in the hunt for that Super Bowl. And I'll tell you right now, we going to get that damn Super Bowl. The Vikings, with their other pick at 23, will be selecting Braden Frisk. 24, the Dallas Cowboys are going to take... Now, there's a lot of rumors and speculation saying that they're going to take a quarterback. I call BS on that. With the 24th pick in the Fourth Down Forum mock draft, the Dallas Cowboys select wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, University of Texas. Do they need Adonai Mitchell? Potentially. You have Gallup there. Nope, you don't have Gallup there anymore. Scratch that. Reverse it. You have CeeDee Lamb there. Gallup is a free agent right now. Adonai Mitchell can be that guy that replaces Gallup. I think it would be phenomenal. They got their defensive tackle they needed, or their defensive end they needed last year. They're set there. They got a stud linebacker. Diggs is coming back from injury. Going to be a sight to see. So that's who I have the Cowboys drafting. With pick 26 in the Fourth Down Forum first annual mock draft, the Packers are going to be selecting Graham Barton. Hey, hopefully he does something for him. Maybe he doesn't. The world will find out soon enough. This Thursday, NFL draft. And I'll repeat it one more time at the end of the episode. They're not paying me for this, by the way. This is just working my way up, building the channel, getting to where we need to be, so I can get them sponsorships and stuff and make money off of this. But I also do this because this is something I enjoy. So, at 26, at pick 26, the Buccaneers are selecting Dallas Turner. Which, how the hell did he fall all the way to pick 26 in our draft board? 27. Listen, y'all are not going to like me. I forgot to write pick 27 down. It's not because I didn't want to. It's not because I didn't know who's picking. It is because I am working long hours right now. I have stuff going on that, not personal stuff, but like I'm trying to get many moving pieces. So pick 27 will be in the comments below. Apologies for that if it was your team. Pick 28, the Buffalo Bills will be selecting Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. That has to be a no-brainer. They just traded Stephon Diggs to the Texans. They need a wide receiver. Gabe Davis went on to greener pastures. I think he signed with the Jags, if I'm not mistaken. How funny would it have been if I did the Triple H? Not with Dr. Pepper. But yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. is another guy out of LSU that can do the same thing. Hell, he may be better than Neighbors. Don't hit the messenger. However, he may not be. But they are both really good Really good players. With pick 29, the Lions, the Detroit Lions, who should have been in the Super Bowl this year. I will put that out there right now. They should have made it. With the 29th pick in the first overall fourth down forum mock draft, the Detroit Lions will be selecting Chop Robinson. Didn't have the name written down here, but I remembered that one off the top of my head. 27, like I said, will be down below. With pick number 30 in the fourth down forum mock draft, the Baltimore Ravens will be selecting wide receiver James. Xavier? James? They're going to be selecting Worthy. It's one of those two names. I might have butchered the name. I do apologize if I did. No, James Worthy's a basketball player. What the am I talking about? Xavier Worthy out of the University of Texas. I've got to see him play because I live in Texas. We know this by now. This is a Texas-based podcast. But it's based around all sports that I like and whatnot. Whatever. Don't need banter right there. The Ravens may not need a wide receiver, and it may not look like that right now, but we did lose Odell Beckham in free agency. He's still not signed with a team. And there are rumors circulating that wide receiver Rashad Perryman, what is this, 2015? Rashad Bateman may be on the trade block. So that said, the 49ers are going to be taking a player that they need. And yeah, this is kind of man, I am sorry, y'all. This has been a day. The 49ers pick will also be in the comments below. Apologies. So 27-31 will be in the comments below. And with the final pick in the fourth down forum mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be selecting wide receiver Keon Coleman. Do they need a wide receiver? Hell no. Because they have Marquise Hollywood Brown. They got Rashee Rice. But also Rashee Rice is in a little bit of trouble right now, ain't he? So maybe they do need a wide receiver. You know who they don't probably want anymore? I can't do the little thing the one dude on TikTok does where he's like, Kadarius. Maybe I did. They don't want him anymore probably. So you bring in a receiver, get that going. But please, to the higher up football gods, please do not let the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. We don't need it. We don't want it. However, NFL Draft this Thursday, 7 p.m., Thursday through Saturday, I believe. Make sure you watch, follow along, see how many of the picks we got right, see what picks, let us know what picks you don't agree with, disagree with. Shout out to my boy Michael for collaborating on this with me. You will be seeing him probably on the channel here very soon. We are working behind the scenes to, implement Zoom to where we can use that, upload that onto the channel. That way we can have people on the channel, guests on the channel, like I said. That is something we're working on. As far as future episodes go, basketball doesn't really get as much traction as I would like it to. It is something that we'll still cover from time to time on the channel. I'll probably wait for round 1 of the playoffs to be over to give my thoughts and takes on that. And we'll go about it that way instead of doing like round 2, round 1, round 2 predictions. Because then next thing you know, I'm just sitting here miserable and being like, But yeah, thank y'all for joining. This has been episode 18, the Fourth Down Forum mock draft episode. We appreciate y'all bearing with us through the mishaps. We appreciate y'all being here. We are at 184 subscribers. We're trying to get to 200, so hopefully we can get there soon. I just got to keep grinding, keep pushing, keep going. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. And until we meet again. Bye.